All right, there's a few dumb or silly hacks when it comes to building muscle that I was fortunate enough to learn at an early age when I started training at around 15 years old consistently. Now, that was almost 25 years ago. I'm turning 40 this year. And so these dumb tricks are gonna continue to help me build muscle well into my 40s and hopefully beyond. Will it be at the same rate as when I started? No, but no matter where you are in your journey, if you're just getting back into it, if you have a goal to transform your body, your physique, and you're in your late 30s, 40s, or heck, even in your 50s and beyond, these tricks are going to save you a lot of time. The first one, and man, I try to tell this to all our clients. We've worked with over 7,500 guys over the past 15 years of my online coaching business. One of the first lessons that they watch inside the curriculum that they get when they start with us is you have to avoid variety, or at least avoid chasing variety all the time when it comes to your training. Believe it or not, the exercises I started doing back when I was 15, and once again, I was very, very blessed to discover the push-pull leg split back then. But the exercises, no matter what split you do, the exercises that I started with back then are still the same ones I do today at almost 40 years old. So 25 years of training, not much has changed in terms of exercise selection. And the reason for that, if you really think about it, like if you really just wrap your head around this concept, there's only so many movement patterns that the body has, right? We have the horizontal push, a horizontal pull. We have a vertical push, a vertical pull. And then we have our leg extend and our contraction with our hamstrings. And we only have so many things that our body can do in terms of movement. So it would make sense that there can only be so many exercises. Now, I'm not here to say that I don't ever change my exercises or that I don't experiment with new things or there aren't thousands of different exercises out there. There absolutely is. The takeaway here, though, is master the foundational basics. Master the basics. Whether you train with dumbbells, barbells, kettlebells, machines, or a combination of that plus body weight, TRX, whatever. There's so many tools at your disposal, but the problem that I see with guys is they think they gotta change workouts up every week. And a lot of that stems from an identity of I get bored easily, all right? And we have to switch that to I train effectively and consistently all the time. That has to become your new identity when it comes to this whole fitness thing. Otherwise, you're not going to give your body reason to grow muscle. The reason the body gets signaled from the central nervous system, the brain, to add muscle tissue is it's consistently being put under stress, similar stress, okay? Where it says, okay, this body now needs to be stronger and have more muscle to be able to do these exercises that are consistently being done. We'll use the bench press as an example, and the reason why the bench press is so dear to my heart is for a long period of time, probably the first 10 years of training, my chest sucked. Now, what changed? Well, what changed from a crappy bird chest that had no development really to a chest that gets compliments all the time from other guys, okay? Girls are not complimenting my chest. My wife would be a little weirded out with that one, but I will say that over the years, my chest has turned into a strength. And the reason for that is number one, I stuck with the same 3 chest exercises for years. The other thing is I started doing them more frequently. So I was fortunate enough in my mid-20s to become friends with some of the best training partners on the planet. This guy, Carlton, I don't know if he'll ever see this, but this guy, Carlton, was easily the best training partner I ever had. And the 2 things we did just about every workout were push-ups and pull-ups, okay? We started with push-ups and pull-ups. We finished with push-ups and pull-ups. We did a lot of pressing for chest, probably 2 or 3 times a week. And we did that for years. And the reason why it worked so well is it applied the same stimulus that obviously got harder over time, but the body had to adapt, all right? I wasn't doing 15 different chest exercises. I wasn't doing, one arm on a stability ball with a kettlebell, that stuff doesn't work. And the reason why it doesn't work is it actually doesn't give your body a reason to change. Your body is always having to start over in its process of adaptation if you're constantly throwing different things at it. Now, I know there's gonna be people who go, well, what about CrossFit guys? What about these high rocks athletes who, look like they were carved out of granite, and they're doing all these different exercises. Well, here's what I'll tell you. The story behind a lot of these physiques is that they've done the consistent basics for years. And so they've built a crazy foundation, similar to myself. I do high rocks now a lot. I train for different things. Going to do a Spartan later this year. Going to do high rocks later this year. Doing all these fun hybrid fitness things that require a lot of variety to train and prep for. But I've got decades of consistency of doing the basics. And a lot of these athletes, besides just being given incredible genetics to look a certain way, have trained for years with the basics. Okay, they've put in the work, they've built a foundation. So now when you see them doing, hang cleans for time and, farmer's carries with one arm overhead and, all these, what looks to be fun and fancy exercises, you're not seeing the squats, the deadlifts, the bench press, the shoulder press, for years behind the scenes. That's the first thing you got to master. And I spent a lot of time on that. So if you made it this far in the video, comment the word shred below and I'll send you a summer shred planning kit that's going to map out your entire summer shred game plan, from how to eat, how to train, how to move. So there's no guesswork, and I'm giving it to you for free because I know some of you out there will never invest in my coaching program, and that's totally fine. My coaching program is not for you. We only work with guys who value time as their number one asset. Okay, they're so busy, they don't have time to comb the internet, break down their whole program, build out all their systems, and coach themselves through a fat loss program. They need an expert, and that's what we do. We work specifically with high earning men who value time more than anything else and want to be there for their family. So if you're interested in our program, you can check out the link below. But in the meantime, comment shred. At the very least, you're going to get a roadmap on how to achieve your best adult physique ever. Okay. So second thing is I train my back and the muscles on the back side of my body twice as much as the front. Now, you might be thinking, well, how does that help you build muscle? Well, first and foremost, it provides the balance my body needs to avoid injury. Injury is what will derail your muscle building plans, your fat loss plan, your fitness plan, probably faster than anything, especially as you get older. The body will have a harder time bouncing back from injuries, as the years pile on. So the one thing that I've always been aware of is that, my chest, my shoulders, me typing at the computer, me driving, me doing everything in front of me leads to an imbalance. Most people don't train their rear delts, their traps, their back, their hamstrings, their glutes, especially guys. Now, we don't ever even look at our glutes. And that's why a lot of guys have a flat pancake butt, right? But you can change that by doubling up on the volume for your posterior chain throughout the week. Okay, so if I'm training chest, let's say I hit chest with 2 exercises a week, 3 sets per exercise, that's 6 total sets for chest. Okay, now I'm going to train my rear delts and back with a bare minimum of 12 sets for the week, because that's going to provide the balance that I need to keep my shoulders healthy, keep my posture healthy, keep my back healthy. My back doesn't get anywhere near as much work as my chest and shoulders do just throughout my lifestyle. If you really think about it, we're not pulling things or pulling down things all day long. Some of you might be, and you're in the very small minority of people, but most of us are doing things in the frontal plane. So in order to build muscle, we got to stay injury free. And by the way, our posterior chain responds very well, at least in my experience, to a little higher volume. It can handle more. The glutes, the hamstrings, the back, the rear delts. I've been able to add a lot of volume to those areas in terms of sets and reps over the years, and they handle it very, very well. I noticed that my chest and shoulders, after having gone through small periods of higher volume, it just doesn't handle it as well as the back of my body. So that's how I set up my front and back when it comes to training, because ultimately that's going to lead to more muscle, less injuries, and just a better overall looking physique because your posture is dialed in. Now, the third thing is I'm very consistent with 2 main things. Now, this is I say dumb trick because you're probably going to say, well, dude, I know everybody says this is not really something groundbreaking. But what I can tell you is these 2 things influence muscle building, for me at least, more than anything else, and that's sleep and protein. Now, I'm going to throw a little curveball at you. I don't think you need as much protein as the experts tell you. A lot of experts will say you need a gram or even higher than that per pound of body weight. So if you're overweight, let's say you're 250 pounds, but really you should be closer to 200 pounds, the experts are gonna tell you, and I say experts, the protein pushers are gonna tell you need 250 grams of protein per day. Now, I think that cuts way too deep into your total calories. Studies, if you actually look at scientific studies, and I have proof backing this up from our clients, you only need about 0.8 grams of protein per day per pound of lean body mass, which is significantly less than that 1 gram per pound of body weight. I'm not gonna get into specifics on why people push higher protein amounts. Typically, it stems from protein powder sales, okay, wanting to sell more protein. But I will say there's some good intention behind it. And the only thing I'll say though is it cuts way too deep into your calories. So you won't be able to eat as much carbs and fats, which is kind of the idea of some of these other coaches. They don't want you overeating, so they just load you up with protein. It's just not necessary. But when you pair decent protein intake, consistent protein intake with consistent sleep, for me, it's 7 hours. I need a solid 7 hours a night. So if I go to sleep at 11, I cannot wake up before 6 or else I feel terrible. Typically, I wanna wake up a little past 7 hours because during the night, I might wake up to pee, I might toss and turn a little bit, so I'm not fully asleep for 7 hours. But let's say I fall asleep at 10:30, it would be great to get up at 6 because that's a 7.5 hour window of sleep. And then I realize my consistency in the gym is better, my muscle is stronger, I'm just able to stay dialed in way, way more effectively. So if you're not taking care of your protein and your sleep, I would strongly suggest doing that, okay? Strongly suggest. Now, if you're looking for a place to get started and you need a system to follow and you're not sure what to do when it comes to transforming your body, comment the word shred. I will send you our summer shred system. It's gonna lay out exactly how to do everything. Now, I have to sneeze, so I'm trying to hold it in. Whew. Allergies, man. Allergies this time of year suck, which, yeah, it just sucks. I have nothing to say. Tips on allergies, don't have them. I'm not the guy to ask. I take allergy meds, blah, blah, blah. It's not a video about allergies. But anyway, the last tip I'll give you is kind of a dumb trick. But if you can, load up some dumbbells and a bench at your house. Okay, get some dumbbells and a bench. Get a heavy pair of dumbbells, a medium pair of dumbbells, and a light pair of dumbbells for now, for your current strength levels. And have a go-to part of your home that you can train when you can't make it to the gym. For me, this has been a game changer to maintain my physique over the years. Now, I'm blessed, man. I have a whole home gym here. We have ski, I got everything here. Dumbbells, I even got a TV that I don't use, which is pretty cool. But listen, I run a fitness coaching company. I have a home gym. It's a tax write-off and it's part of my lifestyle. It's part of my business. I love it. But am I perfect with it? No. There are days where I forget, man, I have a home gym. I can just go downstairs and do a 15-minute workout. I'm just like you in the sense that I get busy. I get caught up. I get, stuck in the mud of doing things that are just, packing my schedule full of stuff. Have a home gym set up though. This will make a huge difference in your ability to make progress and build muscle, especially as you get older. Because the name of the game switches from just build to build a little but maintain. Build a little, maintain. And you don't need as much volume and you don't need as much time in the gym to maintain as you do to build. At least that's in my experience, in my client's experience. When we're trying to proactively build muscle, we need to be really consistent. We need to be hitting the weights, getting stronger, tracking our numbers. We're trying to maintain, and sometimes we just gotta touch it, right? We just gotta do 1 or 2 exercises. We just gotta touch the body part once a week. This helps the body just stay where it is, which in some cases is the name of the game. A lot of guys continue to fall backwards where they would be so far ahead of the game if they could just maintain their muscle. So don't forget the power of maintenance when it comes to training, okay? Especially as you get older, this stuff makes a huge difference. I'll fire off a couple quick hits and then we'll wrap this thing up. But track your lifts, work on perfect form, hire a coach who knows what the heck they're doing to map everything out so you don't have to have any guesswork. You can do same movements, but if you really need variety that bad, which I would strongly suggest revisiting your identity. You don't need to be, you can be bored, it's okay. Don't change the movement, just change the tool. So for example, Romanian deadlifts with a barbell, you can do Romanian deadlifts with dumbbells or kettlebells. Incline chest press with dumbbells, incline chest press machine, right? Don't change the movement, change the tool if you need variety that bad. If you want to get our summer shred checklist, comment the word shred below. I'll send it to you for free. And then if you want to learn more about our total package transformation system for guys who value time more than anything else, who want to get in shape, want to improve energy, want to feel comfortable taking their shirt off and feeling confident in who they are for themselves, for their family, and for the teams that they lead, check out the link in the description and the first comment. And in the meantime, go watch this video on how to build muscle. This is going to continue to educate you. I think this one will really help, or it could be over here, one of the two sides. I can never remember. But go check that one out next, and I will talk to you soon.